All right. Mayor, the audio and the recording are starting. If you would like to kick us off, please.
You bet. Good evening, everyone. It's amazing that we can do things virtually. What a wonderful thing technology can be. I want to open up the Monday, February 24th, 2025, Maplewood City Council Manager Workshop. Is City Clerk Cindy there so that she can do the roll call for us?
Yes.
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here virtually, so thank you very much for that. Council members, is there a motion to approve our agenda tonight?
So moved.
Second.
I wasn't
Cave.
sure was that Cave? Okay.
Yes.
And then Lee
Moved by
second.
Cave, seconded by Lee, the motion to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? I guess we need to do a roll call vote. So City Clerk, would you do a roll call vote for us, please?
Councilmember Cave.
Aye.
Councilmember Juniman.
Aye.
Councilmember Lee.
Aye.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Aye.
Mayor Abrams.
I as well, thank you. Tonight we have no unfinished business. We have new business. We're going to be hearing from the YMCA of the North and have a discussion. Mike Sable, I'm going to turn this over to you to Mike Darrell, our Assistant City Manager. I'm going to turn it over to you to set this discussion up for us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're excited tonight to have folks from the YMCA present a little bit of their demographics, their history. I wanted to just set the table a little bit, though, about in 2020 or 2016, the city and the YMCA developed a lease. The lease was for 10 years, and that lease will expire on October 31st of 2026. And so tonight is one of probably 2 or 3 different conversations that we'll have with the council. Tonight is a 30,000-foot kind of highlight of what the YMCA has been doing, their programming, demographics. It's really a show and tell, an opportunity for them to talk about who comes into the Y, the challenges, and some of the future. So we're excited to have Katie Lowe, who's the Vice President of Operations, and Alex Schmidt, who's the Director of Operations here to present. And then after their presentation, we'll highlight some questions and we'll talk about next steps in this process. Alex.
Good evening and welcome to our meeting tonight.
Thank you.
So we will pull the slide deck while you're getting ready. The slide deck is now ready for you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having us. My name's Alex. That's Katie Lowe. She's my boss. And I'm the Director of Operations at the Maplewood YMCA Community Center. I actually grew up most of my life in Maplewood, and I used to go to the community center as a kid. So when this job was presented to me, I was like, oh, yes, please. Like, that would make my day. So just thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're glad you're here.
All right, so we start at the Y. Every meeting that we do starts with a mission moment, and we ask our staff to give us things that have happened that really that embody the Y's mission, which is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And so our mission moment that I would like to start this off with is that is a painting that a member painted for us, and it's about 4 feet by 3 feet, oil on canvas. And we had been in discussion probably for a good month, and she just wanted to give back to a community that really made her feel safe, that made her feel welcome. She says every time she walks through the door, everybody's like, oh, hi, Susan, thanks for coming. Even the lifeguards. So she took about 3 months to make this picture, and we have it now hung up if you guys want to go see it. It's amazing. And she actually painted herself into the bottom left corner there. That's her. And everybody there is a member of the Y that she's seen there swimming. And so they're all real people, and it's a real lifeguard.
That's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We love it. So what do? We do a lot. Events, we do personal training, large group exercise. We have on-site childcare for working out. You don't have to work out, just on-site childcare. In the morning and the afternoon, we do swim teams, Special Olympics. We have a neighborhood center that we'll get into. We have a K through 5 summer power, and we do Get Summer, which is our high school kids. We give out free memberships to high school kids throughout the Twin Cities to come use our facilities during the summer. We do sports. Our Forever Well is our active older adults. And we do Achievers, which is our after-school program, and Youth in Government. I'm going to start with Youth in Government because you guys are government. And it's usually a winner. They, every year, they're housed out of the Maplewood YMCA Community Center. So their office is right next to mine. And every year they take about 1,400 kids down to the Capitol, and they just take over for the weekend. And they get to do bills. They get to argue their points. And it really, I've been to one of them, and it's just, if you ever think like, oh, kids these days, they don't know what's going on. These guys are like top tier kids. Like, I'm always amazed. But for Maplewood specifically, we do have a delegation at John Glenn. There's about 20 kids at John Glenn, and they're going to the Model UN this soon, where they get to discuss everything that they do at the UN. And they get to do, I believe John Glenn is France this year. They're France. So yeah, it's really awesome to see those kids and how they just grow so much. And they, especially nowadays where they have to really stick to their points and argue their points, it's awesome. We do Achievers. It's our after-school program. It runs, it hasn't run for a little bit, but we are in the process of getting it back. They have a special room at the Y where the kids can come after school and be supervised. We do, they like to make music. We have a few 3D printers, and everything's kind of based on the mind, body, and spirit, and college readiness. So they could do a lot of cooking, making sure that grades are up. They also get this fake money. So if you get good grades on your report cards, you get some extra money. If you show up, you get some money. And then they get to spend those on the last Saturday of every month. They throw a big party, and then they can buy special things like Target gift cards, things like that. Our Forever Well is our active older adults. We have about 119,000 senior swipes. We've seen kind of an explosion, especially at Maplewood, of active older adults trying to get out, do stuff. And we kind of just listen to them. They let us know what they want to do. And if you tell them no, you'll hear about it. But we have pictures like knitting club. They do field trips, water exercise. Excuse me. And then the other pictures are once a month we close down the pool after their water exercise and let them use the slide. And they love it. We have our event center, which is grossing about $18,000 a month. We get like 12 inquiries a day, and we've been now doing about 5 birthday parties a month. It's been a great revenue generator for us. We have a new events manager who's very experienced and is kind of just kicking us off into a great start for the year, for sure. We're just adding things. I did that for like 2 weeks while we didn't have an event manager, and I was like, oh, okay. A lot of voicemails that I gotta get back to. So we do health and well-being, personal training, massage, small group classes, fun new classes. We do sound baths now, kind of going for the whole mind, body, and spirit. We gross about $11,000 a month. We have 5 personal trainers, 10 instructors, and something that really sets us apart, I believe, is our nutritionists and wellness coaches. And every member gets a free 30-minute wellness consultation and a free 30-minute nutrition consultation. And you can kind of, I did it, and I was like, why would I need a nutritionist? But after that 30 minutes, I was like, I do need a nutritionist, for sure. They're like, how much water are you drinking? Like, not much. And then we also do line dancing, which was our active older adults came to us and said they want a line dancing class. So really listening to the members, seeing what they want, seeing what's popular, and then going from there. Swim team and lessons. We have a few contracts with Matamidi Mounts Park Academy, and the Special Olympics comes and trains in the pool. We do events. We rent out the pools. We did Mercon last year, which is, if you haven't heard of it, we had like 30 mermaids that you could swim with and hang out with. And the scouts come. And we, recently, this is where we've been hit the hardest. I have done, this last month, I've done 15 interviews for lifeguards. 2 could swim, 1 decided to stay on, and the other one decided to go somewhere else. But we do about 15 or so interviews a month, and it's hard out there, so we're really trying to get the word out. Like, if you know anybody, send them our way, for sure. Yeah. Our neighborhood center is at Maple Ponds. It's right at the apartment center. They do a food shelf twice a week. They get free childcare before and after school. That's me in the top right doing the food shelf. They do a lot of field trips. They have free summer programs for families. They have community resources. They go fishing. And again, kind of, we just ask the community, what do you need, what do you want? And then we hear back, and we go from there. They also teach kids to swim. They do homework help. And then they also partner with our adventure group, which is camp, anything camp related. And they do like the races there. They did a mud run. Kidderod is coming up. And they have about 30 enrolled kids and 15 that come each day. Our membership overview, and I have to apologize, I'm not very good at PowerPoint, and just these graphs get me every time. The swipes per month there are just actually people swiping in. You see, like, obviously, previous to COVID, we were doing all right, and then during COVID, not so all right, and then now we are doing okay, we're getting back up there. You also see on the right side, our membership units. A unit could be just one membership, or it could be a family membership. So it's different than the swipes or than actual memberships. Our P3s are scholarships, the money that we give back, so everyone can get a membership at the Y. And then our contract units are the 65 plus. So you can see like a pretty steady increase every year in those contract units. And we've really come a long way of building a program that's specifically for those active older adults and making them feel like this is their home. You know, they come for coffee every day. They hang out with their friends every day. Yeah. Maplewood resident usage. So you'll see on the left side, this is how many people use the Maplewood Y that have a Maplewood address on average per month. And then the right one is association-wide, how many people have memberships with a Maplewood address. So maybe they live in Maplewood, but they work in New Hope, so they got their membership at the New Hope Y. I kind of wanted to include to show that. We've been up a little bit past 5,400 now with people with Maplewood addresses. Financial overview, kind of wanted to show here our operating net income, how our senior engagement has been going up. Revenue's kind of up and down there. And I also wanted to include capital expenses. Our capital expenses have, from what I understand, we had a new agreement where Maplewood YMCA wasn't going to put money toward capital. So I kind of wanted to show that every year we have been doing something, we have to keep the place running. Just put a brand new elevator controller in. And a lot of facelifts here and there. For sure, going to be needing to do some more things. And I'll get to that here. There we go. So I kind of wanted to show what we've been doing for capital projects. We have a few, all the way on the right side there is kind of what's in the plan for 2026 and going on. But a lot of it is, our pool, our elevator. We're doing roof repairs, pool doors. We got a brand new fire alarm. And everything in 2025 is budgeted right now. It hasn't been, there's no actuals yet, but those are the budget. And then obviously 2026 is budget. And something that we've been seeing a lot kind of around the Twin Cities is the Y relies heavily on donations. We've seen a drop in philanthropy pretty much across the board. We've seen people that after COVID kind of got their own gym, so they don't really need to come to us anymore. And then that's where we kind of listen to the community, see what the needs are. Like, oh, we need more active older adult meeting spaces, less maybe of the special e-gym things. So yeah, just really listening to what the members, what the community needs and going from there. Community wins. I have a lot of them. Really, again, just where we come in, we try to bridge any gaps that a community might have. With what we heard for our after-school program, we work really, really well with the Maplewood Public Safety and Parks and Natural Resources. Excuse me. And then we also do a lot of work with John Glenn since we're right across the street. We now have an art gallery of John Glenn art, and the art teachers get to pick 9 kids, and then we showcase their art, and they get to come to the Y for free for that month. Our 2024 impact, we gave out $257,000 in financial assistance to offset membership programming fees. Most of that came from the association. For us, we raised about $25,000, but it's then put into that pool for the association. We had 134 kids and adults learn water safety skills. 1,200 youth served in that's supposed to say safe, inclusive, and educational spaces. And 2,300 senior visits, and we employed about 52 team members. And our last picture is we have a community, what we call the board, now is a community advisory council. And with the Maple Ponds Christmas wish list, they gave us a wish list of 200 presents for kids. And we put them up on a Christmas tree, let members take them, and so members actually bought all 200 of the presents. We were thinking, hey, maybe 50% would be good, but nope. They really came in clutch. And our board members then wrapped them, and then we gave them out. And that was it. So.
Okay. Wonderful. Alex, thank you for that presentation. Council members, I just wanted to remind everyone that this is the first of 3 sessions that we're going to be having talking about the YMCA of the North and our relationship. So this really is a discussion that I think, to kick off, I think it's a great idea. And I have a couple of general questions, and then I'm going to ask if other council members have questions. I, of course, can't see you. I don't see those lights, but sure. I'm going to kick it off with just some general questions. And we're not taking any action or anything. This is really, I think Mike Darrow said it well, that we're setting the table about these discussions. And I think that my goal for the end of this first discussion is to identify what kinds of numbers do we need? What other information do we need? Kind of a facility report. So, those are things to come. But in this first generalized discussion, I certainly know how important our Maplewood YMCA/Community Center is to our community. There's no question about that. I want to hear from the Y's perspective. Tell us about why this is a good partnership for the Y and what you're interested in kind of long term.
Good question.
Sure. I don't know if this is for Alex or if it's for Katie.
I will have Katie come answer that.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, thanks for your time today. We really appreciate being able to just showcase what in partnership we're able to accomplish with the community. And so wanted to say that out loud first. To answer your question, Our main goal is to figure out with our partners and in communities where the gaps are, and then figuring out how to solve those gaps. That's how we got into the fitness business. We're really focused on spirit, mind, and body. So how can we do that with our community? And in this case, with the city. So your question was, what we see long-term, I think, if I got that right. Some of that will really depend on what you all want and see as the gaps. We want to be able to show up and serve in a way that makes sense collectively. I think that one of the things that we would love to see is how can we take a holistic approach to serving the community, so both on-site at the community center, but what are the wraparound services that residents need? We often, where we're successful in communities is when we have a bigger footprint. And so we have some of that happening now with the Maplewood Pond Homes, and we've been doing that for almost 20 years. And so how could we spread that differently, or how could we involve volunteers differently to serve? How can we, just partner? Are there opportunities in Parks and Recreation? So maybe thinking as a council, thinking more globally about how the Y could support or show up for you and for the community would be something that we'd be interested in discussing further. So I don't know if that answers your question, Mayor, but any follow-up?
Certainly, I think it's a good start to an answer, but I want to understand more about how you view the partnership.
Oh, sure.
I think that would be helpful to understand too, as we're setting this table here for further discussion.
Right. We really see it as, I guess, we really want to be transparent. So we want to be transparent when we show up. We view the partnership as, maybe can you ask it in a different way?
Yeah, I know that there are standalone Ys.
Yep,
I believe that you have partnerships with other cities.
we do.
And so it's really, how do you see the Y as a good fit for Maplewood for this long-term relationship?
Again, I think if we can figure out how to spread our footprint a little bit, we'd love to figure out how we might be able to serve in like the Parks and Rec a little bit differently. I think one of the things we have to figure out collectively together is how to support the actual facility. We're often best at the operations, and the Ys struggle across the board with capital. I don't know that that's different than any other business, but that's also true for us. I don't know if that fully answers it, but
No, I think it starts the discussion.
yeah.
And I think that that's good. I
Yeah.
think that's good. I don't want to put you on the spot since we
Yeah.
are starting the first of three, but it's a high level discussion, and I think it's a good place to start.
Right.
Council members, Mr. Sable, I'm going to count you, ask you if you would call on council members because I can't see the light.
Sure, I have Councilmember Villavicencio and then Councilmember Cave in the queue.
Okay. Councilmember Villavicencio.
Thank you. Thank you just for being the Y and doing all the things that you do. I know that it's a very important part of Maplewood, and I know for many families it's kind of the heart, right? Like there's, it's the heart of our community, and I don't know if many people know this, but when I started as a Parks and Recs commissioner, I used to drop off Allie at the daycare, and she loved it. So it really does provide a purpose in our community that's really meaningful, and I want to see that continue and flourish. One thing that I think I'd like to see more of is just like intergenerational access points or abilities to have things for the whole family to be there. When I think of when I've seen the Y at its most flourishing, is when I saw whole families there being active and doing things. Maybe parents are working out, the kids doing a class, things like that. The other thing too, and it may sound like a trivial thing, but when you're there, my daughter used to do karate there, and so and then sometimes we would have other things going on there at the same time, and and there's not a lot of access to snacks and things like that. And I think, if you want people to be there for a while and think that, well, maybe on a Saturday, they could spend the whole day on Saturday there. They're going to need something to take a break with and things like that. Oh, and the other thing I want to highlight, too, that I know that and I really appreciate you do is your exercise programming, I think, is really great. And I really appreciate that you tailor a lot of the things you do to seniors, because I know it's really important. And also, too, ULA. I love that. I have some friends who do ULA, and that's a great exercise program for all body types, and it's just really exciting, and the Y does it, and so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Cave.
Hi, just want to thank you guys for all you do also for the community. And a few things I want to touch on, and then maybe a question about membership.
Sure.
I do like the fact that we have a capital projects overview, and it'd be great if we extended it to a 5-year, to see what there is, because it's a very costly, projects are very costly out there.
Yeah, we do have, it does go further.
Okay.
We do have a complete plan, and I
Okay.
think it goes to 2060.
Okay.
And so in partnership, but that is one of the pieces that we know that we want to reassess the facility in jointly, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
that's something that's coming up in the next 6 months probably.
Okay.
That maybe even before we get back here, and for sure before we would think about what our next, actions are, we'll have that complete, and, happy to share whatever
Okay.
makes it, whatever amount of detail you want.
And question about the theater? Just a quick, what's going on with the theater there?
Yeah. So
Anything?
I actually feel, so I've been supporting Alex and the Maplewood team since, I don't know,
Not too long ago.
a few months, several months. And so, good question. Alex was out, and so he connected a little bit with me over that. I said, if it can wait, we would love for Alex to be a part of those discussions. That is something that we need to get after.
Okay.
So we are, we were in some conversations with them. What does the next partnership agreement look like? That will continue. So
Okay.
more to come on that, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the events, stepping up. That is such a great venue for a moneymaker, revenue. When you're looking at, you'd give a lot of your money away, you do a lot of things, you also have to make revenue. And I'm glad you guys are stepping that up, because that is a big opportunity there. Could you just talk a little bit, I was going to say philanthropy too, there's so much more we can talk about. We have 3M, we have a bunch of churches that would have senior groups that I think would love collaborations with you guys. But can you talk a little bit about the membership at the Maplewood Community Center / YMCA? It's different than other ones, because it's just, if you get a membership there, and let me know, is it just for that YMCA? Or can people go to another one? I've
Yeah,
had
peop-
seniors ask me.
People have choices.
Okay.
So, both.
Okay.
Both and. So there is an option for a local-only Maplewood membership. It's costs a little bit less.
Yep.
And then people can obviously opt into YMCA of the North, full facility access membership across the Twin Cities.
Okay.
So both come with nationwide access, if you will. So if somebody's traveling or whatnot, you can access most of the Ys across the country
Okay.
with that. And so both.
And one more thing, I just want to say, phenomenal that you have the childcare there, because so many places do not anymore. And I know that was a big thing too. When I had kids, I went there with the childcare, and it was like, I'm so great to hear that, because I have grandkids now, and now I know where to bring them. If I can,
we know that's
you
such an important part, right? So not everyone
Yeah.
comes to the Y for the same thing. It's not
Yeah.
just a workout facility. And so certainly important that we don't care. There's no judgment what you
Yeah.
do, right? Come,
Yeah.
drop off your kids.
No, I mean, I
do
would
what you
stay.
need. Right. Well, drop off your kids. Right. No, we can't let you do, not in the building. Stay in the building.
You gotta like a little
read
tag.
book,
You're
right? Or
leaving.
if you want to work out,
Yeah.
or in the context of the building.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other council questions or comments?
Councilmember Lee is in the queue.
Councilmember Lee?
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't know we could drop off kids at the Y.
You have to stay there.
All right, next date night, I have that noted now. Thank you for the presentation and the partnership that you guys have been in with the city of Maplewood. It's definitely, it's evident that you guys do great work here in our city and the community that you serve here. So thank you for that. I have a couple questions I just want to run by you. So membership overview, and these are some questions maybe for the future conversation that I would like to perhaps see too is membership definitely tanked in 2020. We know the reason why.
Yep.
What does that look like in terms of projection in the next 5 to 10 years? What are you guys projecting to hit? And in addition to that too, how does it, what projection will bring your business model to where you want it to be? So I would love to see something along that line, membership wise. In addition to the membership numbers that you showed here, demographics, I don't think I saw that on here. What does that look like, the demographics that you guys are serving in our community? Maplewood's continuously changing, the services and that you guys are offering. Is that something that's open and available, and can all community participate in those events? So I'd love to see what that demographic information that you guys are getting in there. Other components are, so, and correct me if I'm wrong here, my understanding of this is there's about 5,400 association memberships with Maplewood addresses, so meaning that there are, in the state of Minnesota, or wherever they are, there are 5,000 people with YMCA membership. And we're getting about 1,200 folks who are clocking in here at our Maplewood Community Center. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, oh,
That's a good question.
Okay.
That is what I think the document said, if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, I think what we could do also is dig into that a little bit more and figure out, if they don't have memberships here, where do they have memberships? And, depending on that answer, we might be able to understand a little bit more why. We might not also, but we might be able to. So we can dig into that and clarify that a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I want those folks who work, they live here. I
Yeah.
want them to spend time here at Maplewood. What services can we offer to bring these people here to our Maplewood Community Center? So if we can get 5,000 folks here in our Maplewood Community Center, I think you guys would love it. But, how do we do that? So understanding some of those qualitative information and do some analysis, and that I think will be really good for us to understand. And then I think one of the pieces that I also want to know a little bit more about is, this is something I'd love to hear from the both of you. The community wins here. I see Maplewood activities, and I see something here from 2021, and then, COVID, food truck during COVID. What community events are you guys doing, intentional outreach that you guys are doing right now? We're in 2025, I see numbers from 2021. What does that look like, and how are you guys reaching out to our community? Outside of the work that you guys are doing already at the Y.
we do quarterly family nights or family days, and it's also an open house. And we partner with Chick-fil-A and Hy-Vee, and we try to get around when kids aren't in school, so they all can come from the 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., get a meal, and then just check out what the Y has to offer. We also do, now I'm trying to think of and narrow it down. We partner with a lot of places, the Maplewood Mall, just to get our name out there, but also to show people what we all have to offer. And like the childcare is always the one, like, wait, you can? Like that, okay, I'll do that. And the John Glenn one was pretty nice. And I can't think of anything. I can find out some more too.
Okay. No worries.
Get a better
It's-
grasp of.
Yeah, I love to see, what does that look like? Because I think we have to create value for our residents. And, how does the Y create value for our residents? And by being out there and sharing the work that you guys do, I think that's going to be something that's going to be able to bring in folks to the Y. And so community engagement is an important component for me. So how can we be inclusive of that?
Yeah, I will say the other piece that doesn't happen at the facility, but the YMCA Neighborhood Center that we've been doing for 20 years, that is really, the food shelves twice a month are open to the community, so anyone can access that. They have a lot of events with families, and then in partnership at the Maplewood Y for, like back to school, so school supplies, and just making sure those families are supported and have what they need. So that's another, I would say, element of that. A couple of we will get more details on
Sure.
your
No,
other
yeah.
pieces.
Thank you.
A couple of things, we don't collect demographics, so those aren't mandatory fields. That being said, I think we can do some, it won't be scientific, but a little bit, who's coming, what are they utilizing, are there demographics that we're missing? So we can do some of that. One thing in the presentation that I think is notable is the growth in personal pricing plan memberships, so people who are on scholarship. And I think that tells a story that we have, that continues to grow. And the flip from, 2016, 17, 18 until today is, has grown. I think we had 100 or so memberships, and now it's up to between three something. So, that's a demographic that continues to grow, which I would think means that folks feel welcome at the Y from all sorts of, in that specific demographic. And then maybe that's what I was going to say, but we can get
Sure.
more on that too.
And just one last question here, just from an operations perspective, I'm curious, there's 52 team members that are employed by the Y right now. How many of those folks are full-time and part-time, and are any of them from the city of Maplewood that live here?
Another good question. I can find out and let you know.
Thank you. You guys are just an important component of our city, so just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think full-time and part-time, if I were to guess, full-time, 7 or 8? 7?
Okay. Part-time.
We could get real numbers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
7 sounds good.
Thank you. I have another question. In terms of the work that you're doing with Maple Ridge, I think you mentioned about the different events that you're holding there, community events. Are those open to others or just residents of that complex?
At Maple Pond Homes.
Oh, yes, Maple Pond Homes,
Yeah.
yes.
So the program specifically is for Maple Pond residents who live there. The food shelves are open to the community. Sometimes they'll do some events that are open to the community. Sometimes it's for program participants only. Just sort of depends on what they're doing. So the foundation of that program is to support that really hyper-local community who live at Maple Pond Homes.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful.
Yeah.
As you can tell, as a city, we are very focused on transparency in our numbers. We want to take a look at value for our residents. So I think that you're going to find that our city council is very hungry for numbers. And that is critical because we really are the gatekeepers for our residents' property taxes. And we want to make sure that we're spending everything well. And so we are going to be hungry as we go forward, looking for additional numbers so that we can make good decisions. I think that's what you will find is very true. And I'm not speaking, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn in terms of saying that our council likes to quantify things. We want to understand where's the money going and what's the value for our community. So with that, I really appreciate that and hope that you will be able to work with our staff and get the numbers that we're going to be asking for. Council members, I would just encourage that if you do have other questions that come up, that you can write those out and then send them to Mike Sable so that we can make sure that we give the Y a heads up on some of the numbers that we'll be looking for. I think that will help with our discussion. I'm sorry, Mike Darrow. You can get the questions to Mike Darrow, and then he can get those out to the Y. Any other council questions?
Councilmember Juniman is in the queue.
Thank you. Councilmember Juniman.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I would like to see something a little more specific about how you could partner with our Parks and Rec
Okay.
from your standpoint, and then we could also talk to them, but let's talk to you first about how you could interface with them.
Sure.
Thanks.
I will also say that we also are, I always err on the side of transparency, so happy to share whatever you need from us. We're also very concerned about making sure we're good stewards of the dollars. And so same philosophy at the Y, right? We're a nonprofit. We account for every dollar. We take care of, people who donate money to us and want to make sure that that's going in the proper places and supporting the people. And so, we're aligned in those spaces. So happy to do whatever is needed so that you all feel good about what we're presenting and where we're at.
One question, and this really stems from the kind of city that Maplewood is. We have our 6 strategic objectives, and they're always included in the back of our council packet. Everything that we do is measured by that. We do a quarterly assessment that is reported to the council, and we look at how are we meeting our goals. How does the Y, what kind of process do you have where you are looking at your programming, your staffing, using your resources? How do you evaluate that to make sure that you're hitting the mark, that you're reaching your goals?
Yeah, thanks for that question. We have lots of different ways that we do that. Annual goals for all team members. We use OKRs or MOKRs, so we use mission objectives and key results because we're all about the mission. They are some, annual, quarterly, whatnot. We report on those monthly. We have a, 3-year strategic plan that we are in the process of updating. And so we also report to a board of directors who's a governing board. And then Alex essentially reports to a group of council members who are local to the Maplewood community. And so lots and lots of course, we have an annual budget, so lots and lots of ways that we're held accountable to, financials, team members showing up. We use the core values. We have 5 YMCA core values that foundationally we base all of our decisions off of. So caring, equity, honesty, respect, and responsibility. So lots of ways that we show up in that space, and happy to share, any of that as well if interested.
I think seeing some of that would be helpful, and certainly accountability is really important. What I'm looking at is how do you evaluate whether or not you're meeting your goals? How do you know?
Ongoing, I would say. So Alex and I talk about them all the time. There's a formal annual assessment for each team member, and association-wide. We report to our board of directors on a monthly basis. Lots of discussions around that. So I don't know if that's helpful or what you were looking
It is.
for. But
It's helpful to get a better understanding of that.
yeah.
Council, any other questions?
Mayor, I have Councilmember Lee and then Assistant City Manager Darrow in the queue.
Okay, Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just out of curiosity, your local board that you mentioned a little bit earlier, can you share a little bit more information of what that consists of and how those board members are selected? And are they just Maplewood residents only, or just a little more info about the board?
Sure. Right now, we have about 15, it's Community Advisory Council, but previously we called it a board. 15 people, it's not a requirement that they have to be from Maplewood. They could just love the Maplewood Y. And I would say on average, we get about 5 to 10 that show up to the meetings. And it's just I basically post it everywhere at the Y. I put it on our Facebook, like, hey, we're looking for members. I let them know what to expect, and then we kind of go through an interview process, and if it's something that they still want to do, we come to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Darrow.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to give just an overview on the conversation and talk a little bit about next steps. So we talked about some of the questions were the intergenerational access points, filling in the gaps, capital and facility management, event projections, projections of membership, a detailed business plan or business model, staffing demographics, community events looking at today and into the future, partnerships with the parks and so on. All of these things, our next meeting, this, like I said, this was meant to be a higher elevation. Our next meeting will go into the details of those and others. And certainly if there's other questions that come up after this meeting, let us know. I also just lastly wanted to thank Alex and Katie for leaning into this process and meeting with us to talk about the collaboration and the partnership. It's a unique partnership. And I also wanted to let the council know and the mayor know that these kinds of collaborations aren't a result of one person. There's many people that are involved in the day-to-day, and many of them are in this room, from Audra and her team that take care of the maintenance outside, to Steve Love and his team, to Danette and her ability to come into the meetings, to Joe, who's been with us and having conversations about financials. It does take a lot of collaboration. And I'm really proud of the presentation, even though you said you weren't great at it. You did a great job, so I appreciate that. And we look forward to diving into this over the next couple months.
Thank you for that. I want to say thanks to Katie and Alex as well. I look forward to hearing more from you and sharing more information. And that whole word, collaboration, is something that we are all about. So thank you so much. And with that, we are going to move on to our next agenda item. We are going to be talking about the Maplewood Community Events discussion. And I believe, is this yours, Mr. Darrow? I think it's yours too.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. This is a discussion on our 2025 event calendar and talk about some next steps. In this discussions, I again want to thank our staff. We had a staff meeting in January 15th. We talked with staff members from a variety of departments that are involved in putting these events on. So big and small, we talked about what our core values are as it relates to community events, what we need to feel supportive, and just kind of looking at recapping the success of the community, the fall event that happened last year, to kind of come back and ask the question to the mayor and council tonight about moving forward with some scenarios for this coming year. So just a recap, why we do community events, to be welcoming and inclusive, to evaluate based on quality, not quantity. It's really important to our staff to have those relationships with and foster those relationships rather than just doing it just to say we've done it. And so that was really refreshing to hear right at the onset of that community discussion or that discussion with our staff. We talked about the 2025 events, the Santa Parade, the National Night Out, Spring Cleanup, the Easter Egg Hunt, fishing event, mini golf, and Celebrate Summer events that will happen throughout the summer a couple times. The question for tonight was looking at the 4th of July event. If you recall from last year, due to weather, we canceled the 4th of July event and decided to do something different. And for those of you who attended that event, we couldn't have asked for a better evening. I think it's fair to say that it exceeded expectations on almost every front. For the first event of its kind in the city, there was a tremendous turnout and amazing collaboration. So we want to bring that up again for discussion. We talked about in that meeting on the 15th of January, that this event really was, that fall event put us on a weekend where there's really no other communities doing something like that. Joe and his team put together a metro area fireworks display, and so, for example, there's about 24 other community events that hold the 4th of July event. So we're competing a lot against a lot of other communities for that, for that opportunity. The proposed date that we looked at is similar to the date of last year, so it would be, I think, the third Friday of September. Our discussion was to potentially merge the Touch a Truck event with this community event. So I'll stand for questions based on that summary, but wanted to get your overall thoughts.
Thank you for introducing that. The funny thing about this discussion that we're having tonight, council members, is that it came up by accident. This was, I think, the very first year where the fireworks, as I recall, were canceled because of rain. And was the Touch a Truck, was that canceled because of the Canadian wildfires, or was that the previous year? I know,
yeah.
Was it rain too for the Touch a Truck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very unusual that both of our July events were canceled. And so as a result, Maplewood does what we do best, and we figure out a way to get things done. And we came up with this different event that really was a huge success. And I think it really warrants having this discussion about, is this something that we should be looking at? The 4th of July is a very important national holiday. And the question is, really, in my mind, it's a national holiday. And what we did was we had our Lighted Up Maplewood, which, has always been wonderful. But we're also not the only event that's happening on the 4th of July. The beauty of having the event, the Touch a Truck and the fireworks together is that it really was kind of the only event that was happening. Families could get there. It was earlier because you could light off fireworks at 8 o'clock instead of waiting until 10. It just, I think, was kind of magical for a lot of people this year. And so I like the idea. I certainly don't want to diminish the 4th of July because that is huge, and I will continue to celebrate the 4th of July, as I'm sure everybody will. But I think that it certainly warrants trying this out because it's a really unique Maplewood event. Some cities have their 2-day festivals. I know Little Canada has theirs, Shoreview has theirs, Oakdale has theirs. Their summer events that go on for several days, and it's very unique to their community. We have 2 Celebrate Summer events, but I don't think that those are more local neighborhood events. But this fall event, it struck a chord with me. So council members, I want to hear what you have to say. So please put your lights on, and Mike Sable, tell me who would like to speak.
Councilmember Cave is in the queue.
Okay, Councilmember Cave.
I concur with everything you're saying. I was there, and it was fabulous. I haven't been able to come to the 4th of July events because I always go out of town for the 4th of July, so I'm never there for the 4th of July. A few things I just want to say. The people there were, I don't know how to say it. Everyone was excited there. Kids were excited, parents were excited. It was just a different atmosphere. And people were, the food was crazy. I mean, the lines were crazy, so we definitely need more food trucks and food options. But the food, people were just like ready to go out and buy whatever they had there. I know there's vendors that sold little glow-up sticks and stuff. They were going crazy. I had my grandkids there and getting all that stuff. There was so much space, too, that people could get around. You didn't feel packed. The
Right.
Touch a Truck was phenomenal. Like I said, the food vendors, and also one of the biggest things, I've only been to a few, years of fireworks, probably 30, but that was the best fireworks I have ever seen. And so many people, I was thinking, is that just me? Like, am I getting older? And this is like, it just kept going on and on and on. And it was like, it felt like there was a finale all the time. Is this the finale? And it kept going. And people around, when it ended, were all commenting about that. It was the best fireworks show they've ever seen. And people by me were from Minneapolis. You know, I knew they were from Minneapolis, and they were all over. And it was just like, it was great because there were so many little kids there too. Like you said, it's the fall, so it gets darker early. So you don't have to have this all-day event, go into the nighttime, and then have people driving. It just was like, it happened, it was a great period of time, and then it ended fantastic. So I have nothing but positive to say about it, and I really hope we continue doing it.
I concur. Next, council member.
Councilmember Lee is in the queue.
Councilmember Lee, your thoughts.
Thank you, Mayor. I think what really did it for me was the weather was just so nice. But, you know, J4th is definitely something that's really important for me. I remember a couple years ago when St. Paul canceled their J4, their fireworks, and my kids was really disappointed, along with myself and the family. And it's just a family tradition to get out to see the fireworks on J4. So but I am open to trying new things, and I think the September event, I like that it's earlier during the day, but the big piece of it for me is I enjoy watching fireworks with my kids, my family, and we have staff that are working J4th. I would like that opportunity to be given to our staffs to take that time off to enjoy fireworks with their family too. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to try. Give it a year or so, see what that looks like. We definitely can have another discussion again, but I think testing it out at the same time again, I think it's definitely worthwhile. So.
I think that's a great point. I like the fact that you raised the issue that our staff would be able to enjoy. Obviously, we have staff that's going to be working on July 4th anyway in our public safety departments. But the fact that more of our staff would be able to have family time on July 4th, I think that there's something very special about that. Council member, who's next?
Councilmember Villavicencio in the queue.
Council member Villavicencio.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I've gone back and forth about my thoughts about this. I really enjoy the Maplewood 4th of July event. I think it's one of a kind in the area. And I know that there are other events in the area, but I just think Maplewood does it really well. And I'm open to trying things new. I'm not like, I thought the fall event was fabulous too, and I like the idea of having different opportunities and something unique. But I just think the 4th of July is a really special time too, and it's a family time. And also I think I think having an organized event in Maplewood is probably good for the residents as well. That way they don't have to go as far to go to an event too. So I think about those things. So, but yes, I'm open to be flexible.
Thank you. Councilmember Juniman.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's worth a stab, shall we say, to do it again in the fall. I've heard so many, I wasn't able to be there, but I've heard so many good things. And it's a way to get us on the map for a different point in time. We may attract people from further away.
Right.
Because nothing much is going on at that time of year. So I think it's worth trying it again.
So it sounds like everyone is open to trying this another time in September this year, in 2025. And I think that, maybe after this year, we can always reassess and have another discussion like that. But this first event that we had in 2024 in September was remarkable. So council members, this is a workshop, so this is all about discussion. But I think staff, you've probably gotten enough from us that we all sound like we are in favor of doing this again and it would be this year, September 19th, 2025. And then we can always assess and look at it. We'll have 2 years experience. Any other thoughts on that?
Mayor, if I may, I just want to throw out to the council, because we have a fixed date and we have months in advance to potentially plan for something a little bit larger. Are there community partners that you would like to see us reach out to early? I know the school district is an obvious one that they had talked about. They were we had teachers that were there that we thought, well, this is great, we'd love to be able to help. And so are there community partner groups that you want to make sure that we do outreach to that so that they're represented and have, I did hear the food truck, right? We were going to clearly have more food trucks, but
We're going to need more food trucks.
other groups or partners that you want us to do direct outreach to?
You know, why don't we, in this next week, council members, let's think about it. And then if there's any other partners that you have identified, we can send that to Mr. Sable and Mr. Darrow in terms of outreach. I think that I really appreciated the folks that we had last year. And if we can expand on that, I think that's going to be even better. But yeah, council members, why don't we think about that and we can get back to staff, okay? Anything else? All right, well, I'm looking forward then to a new event. Well, a new, what are we going to call it? You know, the fall, what did we identify it as?
Mayor, the name is to be determined. I think I'm looking at Joe Sheeran. I think he's got a plan to do some creative brainstorming and probably include some
Okay.
community voices in there. So we'll figure out a clever title as well.
That would be wonderful. And council members, if you have any other idea for partnerships, then please reach out to staff. And I can't wait to hear what the new name is going to be, but we can at least get it on our calendars, September 19th, 2025. So council members, we have gone through our workshop agenda and we have a little bit of time. So I am going to adjourn. I don't have a gavel here, but I will adjourn and we will reconvene for our city council meeting at 7 o'clock. So with that, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.